Officials on the verge of booting Uber from Hillsborough County. All new at 6, the reason proposed safety checks may not work and the new call for the PTC to stand down. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Wendy Ryan.
And I'm Jameson Euler. A crucial vote on new strict ride-sharing rules happening tomorrow. A major sticking point, should Uber drivers be fingerprinted? ABC
Action News reporter Kara Mashek live in Tampa for us. Kara, it really comes down to what will keep everyone safe, right?
Absolutely. You know, you're out here at the airport, for example, you've hit that app and you're waiting for a ride to come pick you up on the curb. You certainly hope that the driver that pulls up here is going to be safe and that they're not a criminal. But it turns out that getting a fingerprint check on that driver really might not be the gold standard of safety. Living and working in downtown Tampa mean Uber and Lyft are a way of life for Topher Morrison.
It makes my life fundamentally easier. I've not owned a car in 5 years, and I don't ever want to have another one.
And when he takes a ride, Morrison says he feels completely safe.
I feel way safer in an Uber car or a Lyft car than I do in a taxi cab.
But Hillsborough County's Public Transportation Commission is worried Uber and Lyft aren't doing enough to make sure their drivers are safe. Right now, the PTC is insisting on background checks with fingerprinting, something the ride shares don't want to do.
The safety of the rider is just as good with the way Uber and Lyft's doing it. I mean, this argument is ridiculous and out of control.
Security expert Brian Chapman runs background and fingerprint checks for companies nationwide. He says fingerprinting is really an old school screening that's being phased out.
The fingerprinting was designed for identification purposes, not for background reports. Back in the 70s and 80s, we started using them for background reports because there was no other way to do it.
Now technology does all the work, providing almost instant, in-depth reports.
Uber and Lyft, they use a level 1+, which is a consumer reports plus other database. They search other databases, Homeland Security, terrorist watch lists, just hundreds of other databases all at once.
He says those are databases fingerprint checks don't even use. And he says fingerprint scans often give false alarms, pinging someone who may have been arrested but never convicted. And no check is foolproof.
There's no perfect way to do it. You just have to do your best due diligence.
And Brian Chapman also telling me that his company actually belongs to 2 of the leading accreditation agencies for background checks. And he says neither one of them have even been consulted by the PTC about what kinds of background checks there are and what might actually work best. Ultimately, of course, though, it comes down to what the PTC decides to do tomorrow when it comes to regulating these drivers and the apps that you use all the time. Reporting live here at Tampa International Airport, Kara Mashek, ABC Action News.
Kara, thank you. Lawmakers in Tallahassee now putting pressure on the PTC to hold off on tomorrow's vote. Representative Dana Young and 12 other state lawmakers sending the commission a letter asking to vote against the proposed rules and to hold off on any ride-sharing decisions until 2017. Young says the state legislature will take up ride-sharing next year and they will pass statewide regulations.